what's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to the rest of Season 2 from Siren. Rin's hormones are off the hook, Ben's mom is in critical condition, and Keven has not only one problem, but two, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. As you can see, I am joined by my lovely panel. Just kidding. The girls were not able to join me tonight, you guys. We have a new member, Karla Contreras, who's going to be joining us as well as Ali and Asta. They were both not able to make it tonight, but they should be here next week. However, tonight you have me, and we have so much to cover, you guys. Last week, Siren came back. We had episode 9, No North Star, and tonight we had episode 10, All In. So let's just dive in deep into the water with all of the, I'm pulling up the chat, you guys. So if you are in the chat, please be active with me and we can keep the conversation going for longer. So first I'm going to start down by breaking down episode 9. A lot of things happen episode 9. We're basically back. It's 2 weeks after the accident from the oil ring, and there is footage that was found and sent to Ben's dad, which I think this footage is going to bring up so many questions, which we already know. Ben's dad is already asking him what is going on, how come this person was able to, or this animal was able to be in so deep, since we were able to see the depth of, like, in the video. And Ben's mom is back in critical condition. She is starting to lose her feeling in other parts of her body. So now it's not only her lower bottom, but she's starting to feel it towards the top, which is leading them to go through other medical procedures, which takes us into episode 10 of tonight. Rin is basically back into the testing zone with the military, and this time she's doing willingly, but she's not doing it by herself. She is doing it with Ben and Maddie. I'm not really sure how you guys feel about her being tested again. I know that it's something that could potentially help not only Ben's mom, but it could also help others who might be in critical condition, who might be in paralysis, and I think it could be for a greater cause. But at the same time, I kind of feel like we're testing her, and I feel like when we're going through the test of kind of taking out her stem cells and figuring out what they can do, it makes me feel like we're sort of treating her like an animal. And yes, part of her is an animal, but right now she is like on land and she is human, and she decided to be back on land willingly with Ben and Maddie, because she says that Ben is love, and apparently so is Maddie. But I don't know how you guys feel about it, but definitely let me know in the chat. I am not so certain that I feel good about it. Hopefully something good will come out, and Ben's mom will hopefully be feeling much better. I know that she stated towards the end of tonight's episode that she was starting to already feel better with these magical stem cells, but I don't know, you guys. I'm kind of like nervous because I feel like they've never tested this in humans before, so something can really go wrong. And his mom is like the first person that we're testing this on, which is super dangerous, because if it were to go wrong, it would be with Ben's mom. And I do have a really intense prediction that you guys probably might agree or might not agree with me, but I'll keep that for the end. And yes, so moving forward with Xander and Keven. In episode 9, we see that Xander decides to not save the North Star. I think that one of the reasons, I have two feelings towards this. The first one is, I'm kind of glad that he let the North Star go, only because it does hold back so many memories with him and his dad, and just everything that's happened in the North Star has a lot of history. So him letting it go, it's kind of him kind of burning his past, which I understand, but it's not going to burn what happened in the past. So I'm hoping that he decides to get back out in the water again, and the insurance covers him, and he is able to get another boat, and it'll mean that he's going to get a new beginning, which I think Xander deserves a new beginning. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of rooting for him and Nicole, and now I'm not so sure because we know that Nicole was kind of using him. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Nicole actually has real feelings for Xander, or is it all just a lie? At this point, it can really be both. I think that for her to go back to the Siren song and just be like, hey, you know, Xander does get a job. He needs a job. He's living with his mom since the North Star is no more. And she goes back and she's treating him like a bartender, like a sexy bartender. So maybe she does have feelings. What do we think? Do you guys think she has feelings? Do you think she was just playing with him? I think that in the beginning it probably started off as her just kind of like, oh, I need to get in and get as much information as I can. And she kind of already knew the backstory of what had possibly happened to Xander's dad. But I think as their relationship grew, she started kind of really getting feelings for Xander, and I hope that her feelings aren't fake and they're real, because I think Xander deserves to have a good relationship in the show, because right now everybody has a romantic relationship. Calvin has a romantic relationship, Ben and Maddie, and Xander can't be alone. He needs to also have somebody, and I'm hoping that Nicole is that person for him. I kind of like the fact that Xander is going in to see kind of what Calvin is getting himself into. He does talk about his crew, and we do kind of question, like, at the time he wasn't really thinking about anything else, and he wasn't thinking about like where he was going to work or what was going to happen. I think at the time that the North Star was burning, he was just kind of like, you know what, just let it burn. And we understand it, because sometimes when you're going through something painful, you just want to let it all go, and I think it's fine. But he goes into this place. So I kind of wanted to point out, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Calvin has a drinking problem, I want to state. Freeform does a really good job of pointing out different problems that are going on in real life, and I think that Siren is definitely not one of those that gets put behind. And I think that they're kind of putting that out there, because every single time I see Calvin, I feel like we always see him at the bar, and I don't know if that's on purpose or why, but he's always also drinking. But in this episode, not only do we find out that Calvin has a drinking problem, but apparently he has a gambling problem, you guys. Gambling, he is in this creepy bar in the other side of town, and Xander is like, let me go check it out, see what's going on with him, because he's showing up with all kinds of cash. Either he is laundering money, or he's dealing drugs, or maybe he got a really good job that he's not telling people about because he's saying that they're side jobs. But he is actually gambling. He's playing poker with some people who might seem like they could be a little bit dangerous. And I think that when it comes to gambling, there is safe ways to do it. When you go to Vegas and you go to a casino and you kind of just want to gamble for the first time and have fun and see what it is. And sometimes you play with $1 and you end up walking out with 25, and it could be super exciting. But I know that gambling can also be something super addicting. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that Calvin needs to stop gambling, and hopefully soon. Hopefully this is something that it's only a phase. We don't really know how long it's been going for, because as of right now, it's only been 2 weeks since the North Star has been gone, but he has to be making money somehow to be able to pay for rent and everything. So, but I am hoping that this is only a phase, and that Calvin is going to be back and happy working with Xander soon, as they get the boat situation figured out. And that's honestly what I'm really rooting for, because we don't want to see Calvin get into any more trouble, which he probably will eventually. And then before I move on to my next topic, you guys, I do want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I know that I see some of you guys are on the chat don't be afraid. You can go ahead and say hello. I will give you guys a shout out. I'm going to start out by giving a shout out to Mina Ruth 2093. It is your birthday, so happy birthday. I hope you are having a fantastic Siren not premiere, but Siren premiere after show day, and may all your wishes for your birthday come true. And we want to let you guys know that we do have other channels at AfterBuzz TV, and it really would help you guys out if you subscribe, give us a rating. Honestly, AfterBuzz is an outlet that helps us do what we want to do later on in life, get practice. So go ahead, give us that thumbs up. We're also on iTunes. You could give us a 5-star rating and let us know if you did so in the comments, and we'll always give you a shout out. Be part of our conversations. We're going to be doing the after show every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you know when to find us. And moving forward, I wanted to talk about Helen and her cousin Ricky. So Helen and Rick have become really close together. We know that they are family members, but Rick doesn't feel right without telling his sister. So they drive over. Helen is like, hey, I'll be a good cousin and help you out. So they drive over to Beth's house, and he wants to start telling her what he knows, but it becomes a little bit difficult. So they end up leaving and they get kidnapped. You guys, when I saw episode 9 and I saw how it ended, I was like, what is going on? There are people that are doing research as well, and they're going to want to kill them in a run test. I honestly thought the worst, which is kind of bad, but I mean, they leave us no choice with the show sometimes. But no, it turns out that Rick's sister already knew their background. Beth begins to tell us at the beginning of tonight's episode that there is a group of half siren, half human people, and we don't really know if it's like half and half or like what the percentage is for some of these people, but we all know that somehow they have some siren mermaid blood in them. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a really, really, really strange feeling about Beth. I don't trust her at all, like not even one bit. I think she's kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. And also, I'm not really sure why they had to lie to Rick for such a long time. I know that he did state that he was going through drugs and then he had to go through a medical procedure, but I don't think that that's enough for you to lie to your sibling for basically his whole life and not tell him the truth, especially when you see that he's having different side effects, or maybe she didn't know about these side effects, but she's definitely hiding something, especially because I believe the last man that Helen spoke to, his name was John, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I actually didn't write his name down, but John begins to tell Helen that he remembers her mom, which brings us to state that we are going to find out a little bit more about Helen, which is super, super exciting because we've always known that Helen was a mermaid, a siren, or part of her was siren, and now we're going to kind of find out a little bit more about her background. And John begins to tell us, for the purposes of tonight's show, I'm going to call him John, and if I'm incorrect, you guys, I am so sorry. But Mina, I'm so happy that you don't trust her neither. She does seem shady, like really. So hopefully we'll find out more about her soon and why she's been hiding this group of people. And hopefully we'll find out also about what happened to Helen's mom. John begins to tell her that at age 30 is kind of when her mom began to step away from this group. We don't really know much about this group yet. So is everybody in this group actually a siren? Are they actually descendants from other sirens and have humans? We don't really know. We're just kind of trusting her word. I mean, we know that she is because she's Rick's sister, but John was starting to tell her an interesting story, and she did not let him finish. She also even said that he could be confused at times. Listen, old people tell the truth, and the stories that old people say, like, honestly, if you have a grandparent, you are so lucky, because your grandparents could tell you some of the most interesting stories that you'll ever hear about old family members that you'll probably never be able to meet, and like different things that they've seen it all. Honestly, they've lived life so much longer than we have. They are so much wiser than we ever will be at this age. And if you have a grandparent, I could honestly tell you that you should talk to them as much as you can while you have them, and listen to them. Even if you're like, oh my gosh, you're telling me the same story all over again, you will miss them eventually, and you will want them to tell you that story, and you'll be able to tell all these stories that they're telling you about past family members, whatever it is. You can pass these stories down, and that's how history is made, you know? So I believe John, and I don't think he's getting his stories mixed. And I'm really happy that he told Helen that he is being left in a retirement home, because I have a feeling, well, this is also for predictions, so maybe I will go ahead and save it for predictions. But for now, that is it, you guys. So I am going to do a little special segment about my top 3 moments for... I'm trying to decide if I want to do it for these past 2 episodes or if I want to do it for season 2. Let's take 2 seconds to figure it out. Let's do these past 2 episodes, only because these are the 2 ones that are fresh in our mind. So the past 2 episodes, I want to do a little thing called your highlights and your lowlights. So the top 3 best and low moments of the show. So the top 3, my top 3 would be that Rin is back on land with Ben and Maddie. I really like that. I believe it or not, one of my top 3 moments from these past 2 episodes was that Xander is actually working as a bartender at the Siren song. I actually really like that. I'm glad that he got a job. I don't think this is for his first job, because he's obviously worked with his dad, but it's something new for him, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm also super excited that Helen got to meet John, because he's going to be able to tell her a little bit more about her mom. And my lowlights. So my not so favorite moments of this is Rin going crazy. She is breaking cages. She is choking Ben, and she almost attacked a lady at a grocery store. That is not Rin. She is not behaving so well. Another lowlight is finding out that Calvin has a gambling problem, and you guys, he also has a drinking problem. Like, I can feel it. And another lowlight is kind of Xander not believing Nicole. I know that I stated that I'm kind of like iffy about her feelings being real or not, but I'm still kind of upset that that's kind of going on. So, but for now, those are my lowlights and my highlights. If you guys have lowlights, highlights about these past 2 episodes, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Let me know. I'm going to be moving on to predictions, so if you do have a prediction, let me know.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. Predictions. My first prediction, you guys, and I think the first half of the season, my predictions were not so on point, because let's be serious. Last season 1, I had some pretty killer predictions. Not to pat myself on the back, but I am going to pat myself on the back. However, I think that this second part of the season is a little bit more like, oh, I can kind of tell what's happening. So, first prediction is, I think that Rin is pregnant. And I know this is like a far prediction, but if you guys were paying attention during the teasers before season 2 came out, or the second half of the season came out, Rin does state that it's mating season. and she's back on land, and she did say that a lot of the sirens are kind of gone, so we need more sirens, so they need to reproduce, and this is probably a way that they'll be able to reproduce. My second prediction of the night is I think that Helen is going to visit John at the retirement home, and she's going to find out a story that has to deal with Rick's and Beth's parents and her mom. I think that there was probably a fallout or a fight of some sort that kind of happened. So hopefully we'll be able to find out about that. And then another prediction will be that Ben's mom is going to find a speedy recovery. I think that there has to be some consequences, because it wouldn't be a real TV show if there weren't, and we want to feel some of the shakiness. So I think that we are going to experience some consequences from Ben's mom experiencing with brain cells. But after all, I think it's really going to help her with her paralysis, and hopefully they'll be able to start testing it in other of the people within the army that are paralyzed. And I think that Xander and it might give Nicole a second chance. I think a second chance might be good for them. But that is all of the predictions and everything that I have for tonight. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in and talking all things Siren with me. I am your host, Karla Beltrán, and you can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltrán. You could also tweet at me on Twitter at I am. No, that's a lie. I was going to give you guys the incorrect handle. My Twitter handle is actually at Karla Beltrán with an R at the end. And of course, don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media networks at AfterBuzz TV. And I'll see you guys next week. So, ciao!
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.